So I had a debate with Tone Vays today, and he convinced me that all altcoins are a scam. So you know what? I'm gonna sell all my altcoins and I'm gonna just buy Bitcoin. I hope you guys didn't believe that joke. But that aside, I think it was great to have Tone Vays on our channel because he represents Bitcoin Maximus, which we never really had on this channel until this point. And the idea behind Bitcoin Maximus is that every other coin is a scam and Bitcoin is the one true coin. And I think it's important that we see this on our channel because it's important to have a wide range of debate and for us to really open up our eyes to different arguments. So we started off about our conversation about Ethereum, and he doesn't believe in Ethereum, which was a big surprise to me because obviously Ethereum was kind of like bringing electricity into this world. Before this, we're burning like oil lamps and candles, and with Ethereum, we suddenly have electricity, but it's also very dangerous. Even the Ethereum founders said that Ethereum is very much an experimental technology, but with that came the idea where we can use smart contracts and putting that on a decentralized ledger to decentralize basically computation. And that is such a weird idea, and we're just starting at this point of time to wrap our heads around it even. And more coins are issuing smart contracts. So why is this, and why doesn't everyone believe in this? Because with smart contracts, putting smart contracts on a decentralized public ledger is very inefficient. That means every time we have to execute a command right now on the Ethereum network, every single computer, every single node that's doing this has to operate that same command as well. And that's the least efficient way to do it. You even have to synchronize the public ledger, the blockchain for Ethereum, which is absolutely massive. So there's kind of huge drawbacks for this. But one thing that allowed us to do is allowed us to verify contracts in a trustless fashion. And his argument that really surprised me, that's the thing that shocked me so much that I didn't really have time to respond to, was really he would trust Google with running smart contracts. He would trust a centralized entity with running smart contracts. And this really reinforced my belief in smart contract technology and with the future or of where we're going. The reason why we can't trust Google is because if you trust one entity with one computational source with it, they can potentially alter what's on it. That's a dangerous part, and this is what decentralized ledger allows us to do. It allows us to have a neutral third party. It allows us to have a third party that has absolutely no control over the outcome of results. The results are run by a basically neutral computer. So that is the biggest difference between a centralized and decentralized system. If you just ran Ethereum on Google, it probably would be much more efficient. You probably just need one or few computers to just run the whole thing. But the idea of just doing that is stupid because, well, if whoever runs the servers have the power, they're no longer a neutral third party. And imagine if things can get even worse from there. What if it's not Google? What if the banks want to control financial contracts? What if, say, Goldman Sachs puts out a smart computer and runs their own smart contract and puts on a centralized computational engine? Well, that's going to be exactly what we have today, which is the current financial system. And there's many things that are kind of broken. If you look at what happened during the financial crisis, Goldman admitted to defrauding investors and paid a $5.1 billion lawsuit settling the case. The fact is that they are financially motivated to protect their own assets, and they can write whatever they want. And that is something that we don't want in this space. This is what the cryptocurrency, kind of the smart contract revolutionary, is bringing. It's the fact that we don't want one central party controlling it. If that central party starts to be dishonest, then we have a big problem ahead, and that's why we need decentralization. And this really strengthened my resolve on the case. We definitely need to fight against the mentality that we can trust one or two centralized figures. Yes, maybe perhaps we trusted Google in the past, but if you look at what they're doing with Android and with what they're doing in their battles, sometimes they aren't always the cleanest entity. And the more power they have, the less clean they can be. And eventually, companies that have way too much power will become the next Goldman. So now, then we move on to something else, because Ethereum brought a new way for us to finance projects. And this is the most controversial as of yet. The fact that we can create our own tokens. We can create new tokens and issue them out in something called ICOs, initial coin offerings. This now goes to Pandora's box. The idea that now we've opened a whole new box of tools for financing, and now we are experimenting and we're kind of in an experimentation phase of what's going on. So now there's definitely people who are like, okay, put those tools back in a box. We don't want any of those tools because, of course, they're so dangerous. It's like when electricity was first invented and people started powering the house with lights, and suddenly they're like, oh my god, this is so scary. What if this breaks down? What if the electrical wiring is faulty and it burns down the house? You know, for 3 years after the introduction of electricity, people still believe and people knew that oil stoves were safer. But as electricity became more popular, we found more uses for it. The fact that now computers are powered by electricity. Can you power that with a gas lamp? And maybe at that time, people believed that the power of electricity was limited, that we can't go beyond just lighting our house with it. But as time progressed, now we power our phones with electricity, we power our computers with electricity. It is the invention of electricity right now, and that's what I feel like is happening in the cryptocurrency space. We're inventing new ways to do things, we're inventing new technologies coming up, and we don't always fully know the full application. We don't know the full potential yet, and this is where it gets really, really kind of messy. There are definitely people who are doubting this. And this is why I feel much stronger now on these technologies. I really feel that there are people who don't understand the power that these tools bring. And of course, this is not a blank check to say, yeah, every single cryptocurrency is not a scam. You must realize that you must understand that ICOs are intrinsically dangerous. We've seen articles coming out that 40-50% fail, and you must, if you're interested in them, go in with this mentality, because that is what you're doing. You're putting money into startups, and startups can fail. But the fact is that startups can be very innovative, and a good team and a solid foundation can create the next Binance. It was surprising that Binance came out, and not just because they have money to do so, but they have the right team and the right support to really power and change the way we trade to be a faster service than what we currently have now, and that's why it was popular. And this is my argument. I definitely feel that in the cryptocurrency space, there's a lot of room for innovation. There's a lot of things that we haven't thought of yet, and we're still at the early stages. We still don't fully know how to use everything properly, and there's still definitely scaling issues for us to tackle. The inefficiencies with smart contract technology and a decentralized virtual machine needs to be solved, and that's why we have multiple projects to do so. So definitely following up in this space is going to be very interesting. We're going to have new solutions coming forth. We've seen the marketing things for blockchain 2.0, blockchain 3.0, blockchain 4.0, talking about either blockchain in blockchains. We have sharding, and we have, of course, even something like Lightning Network / Writing Network. And this is something I really want to focus on a little bit in the future. I feel like right now we need to understand more about the technology, and I feel more than ever that a clear understanding of how the technology works and what it could be potentially used for without any delusions is going to be important for the road ahead. So that's kind of my conclusion from the debate. It was really awesome to bring him on, and I feel like I'm definitely learned a lot more about what a traditional finance or traditional Wall Street person thinks, and of course what technical analysis is. And I think that's something very important as well, and something I want to learn a little bit more. So what do you guys think about the big debate? I would love to hear your sides. Did it change your opinion at all, or are you more fortified? Are you feeling stronger about our current position? Thank you guys so much for watching this episode. I would love to hear what you guys think in the comment section below. And of course, remember to subscribe to this channel for more updates from me. And of course, check out my Instagram for more micro updates. Thank you guys so much for watching. See you next time.